Senate Stock Watcher. Um, I'll go into that in a second. Pretty much, we are looking at stock transactions of members of Senate, and if there's a member that makes exceptionally good decisions, then that is a member whose recent stock purchases we want to look at as probably good purchases to make. What is the problem? Stocks I buy are literally guesses. Um, you know, there's an element of guessing to any stocks, but you want to know more than you're guessing. Uh, why should people care about the problem? They're probably losing money too. I mean, there's an amount of uncertainty. You can't know everything about every company that you are you know buying and selling their stocks. But you want to have a general idea, and if you can get some type of like inclination, some type of edge against other people, I mean that's like that's how you do well in the stock market. Um, so the assumption being made here is that members of Senate might have some type of edge. Uh, Maybe they all have terrific stockbrokers who make excellent suggestions. I don't know, but I figured if we're looking at groups of people who would know what to buy, who have to make their transactions completely public, this is like a good group to look at. So my approach to solving this problem: extract data from publicly available stock transactions of U.S. senators. There is actually a database, like a government database, that you can search with their search tool. It is not friendly to uh, web scraping, but this guy actually went through it and got JSON files that he posted. So I was like, great, let's go for the. It's good if it's already there. Why do it? So yeah, I started with that, and then I followed up. So he has just that there was a transaction that took place. Some of them have the transaction type, like this one has purchase. Some of them are missing things, such as like this one's missing the ticker. And what's interesting is that on the government side too, like I searched a few of them, and the tickers were missing from them too. Some of them had things missing, such as like if it was a sale or a purchase, it would just say exchange. So I guess they're allowed to be vague, but they just have to disclose that something happened. So we only worked with the ones that gave us information, such as the transaction type and the ticker. So anyway, I took that data, followed up to see what it cost. I used a different API to check what it cost the day that it was purchased, and then check like what it would cost um, a year later. I thought a year was a decent interval. Certainly could have done earlier. Uh, yeah, I did a year. So from there, I took the individuals that seemed to make the best decisions based off of like these very simple metrics I came up with. And the idea is to then look at their choices of the stocks that they've bought in the past year and buy them. So, looked at that, and this is what the data set wound up looking like. This is, just an excerpt, but I'd have the date it was purchased, the date I followed up, um, the stock symbol, transaction type, interval. There was never any actual amount. Like there was never it always was just an interval. So what I did was I just took the first number there, just to keep it consistent. If they're all the same interval, like, and they weren't all the same interval, but they all fell in. Like the intervals were not overlapping. They all fell into one of a few intervals. Name of purchaser. This second to last one is the price of the stock on the day the transaction took place, and then the second one is the price of the stock 1 year later. So, design metrics that I talked about earlier, the overall gains. Um, this was how I decided who, this was the main metrics to decide who was doing really well. So if a senator, this is like the overall amount that they've made off of the stock market based on all of the information that I have dating back to 2012. So this is the total estimated amount that has been tracked as gains. So if they purchase $1,000 of a stock that was $50 a share, I can estimate that they bought 20 shares, kind of do that backwards thing. And if I know they have 20 shares and the stock is now worth $60 a share, I knew they made $200. Yep, then the same kind of going backwards. If they sold a stock and then the stock plummeted, the amount of money that they saved, I counted that as a gain too. Because they kind of gained that money by not losing it. The other metric I used were average gains. Since some senators were just much more involved than others or reported more than whatever, it made sense to compute in some averages. So yeah, if a senator's total gains are 10,000, they have 500 shares. It's just, this is division, nothing too crazy. So here are our biggest winners. David A. Perdue with almost $2 million, which is way more than anybody else has reported here. And then these other guys, they made a lot of money too. Worst overall gains, hate to see it. I am honestly very surprised that anyone did this poorly, just because you would think that they would at least be able to hire someone. Like at some point they would say, you know what, maybe we should get out of the market. Very, very bad. So, best overall average, uh, very good averages. Okay. Winners, worst overall average. Again, it's just surprising. Now that we have our superlatives out of the way, here comes the shaky stock advice. Just kidding. Here comes the slide about what is original about my research. Only one of its kind. Instead of crowdsourcing internet opinions, I'm crowdsourcing politician transactions. Shaky investment advice. Here we go. So, the winners that you saw on the previous pages that were winners for good reasons, as opposed to winners because they lost just a tremendous amount of money. I looked through the data that I made of their recent transactions, and then from there, I just tallied up, like literally just tallied up the stocks that they purchased and how many purchase transactions they had in the past year for these stocks. So people are really buying Apple, which makes me want to buy more Apple. I'm surprised to see UPS on there because you would think that UPS would be doing better than they've ever done this year, but their stock just isn't doing that well. But now that I see these people are buying it, I might buy some UPS. Okay, so this is the shaky investment advice. Hopefully, we'll all get rich. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation.